Have you ever felt like you're just navigating a battlefield of deadlines, notifications, and an absolutely endless to-do list? I mean, who hasn't? Well, what if I told you that one of the best guides for surviving modern life was written almost 2,000 years ago by a Roman emperor? Yeah, an emperor running a massive, chaotic empire. It's kind of wild. Let's get into it. It's a pretty powerful question, isn't it? We're talking about Marcus Aurelius and his private journal, a book we now call Meditations. And this wasn't some philosophical book he was writing for other people. Nope, these were his personal notes, reminders to himself on how to live a good life, how to find some peace, all while dealing with war, plague, and crazy politics. So to really get this, you have to understand the context. Marcus Aurelius was ruling the Roman Empire at the absolute peak of its power, but he was also a serious student of Stoic philosophy, and the words in Meditations were never ever meant for us to read. They were his private journal, a way for him to practice what he preached and remind himself of his principles, day in and day out. So where does an emperor even begin his personal guide to inner peace? Well, it's not with some grand theory. It's with something so simple and so profound: gratitude. The entire first book is basically a thank you list. He goes through one by one every single person who taught him something important. And this shows us something huge right away. Character isn't built alone. Marcus is basically saying that becoming a good person is a team sport. From his grandpa, he learned to control his temper. From his mom, to live simply. From his teacher, Rusticus, he learned to actually read carefully, not just skim. He's building his ideal self piece by piece, from the wisdom of the people around him. Okay, so after he's grounded himself in all that gratitude, Marcus turns his focus inward and outward. He starts to wrestle with some of the biggest, toughest truths of life: what our existence is all about, how short our time here is, and just how small we are in this vast cosmos. This idea, man, it just cuts right through so much of our anxiety. We're always worrying about what we did in the past or stressing about what's coming in the future. But Marcus reminds himself that the only thing we actually have is right now, this moment. You can't lose yesterday or tomorrow because you don't really have them to begin with. All you've got is now, and that's where your focus needs to be. Okay, now this is where it gets super practical. Marcus literally starts his day with this thought. Just think about your own life. That frustrating email, that annoying coworker, that random angry comment online. He's getting his mind ready for the friction of everyday life. He knows he's going to run into difficult people, but instead of letting it get to him, he anticipates it. And here's the genius of the Stoic response. He doesn't just brace for it, he reframes it with empathy. He tells himself, okay, these people are acting this way because they're ignorant. They don't know what's truly good, but you do. And because you know that, their actions can't actually harm your inner self, your mind, unless you let them. In fact, he says, we were made to work together. So this is where he really starts to combine these ideas into a powerful strategy for mental toughness. He talks about building an inner citadel, like a fortress inside your own mind that nothing on the outside can ever break into. And the foundation for this whole fortress is this one simple life-changing idea. Some call it the dichotomy of control. Basically, some things are in your control and some things are not. That's it. You can't control the traffic, but you can control getting angry about it. You can't control what other people think of you, but you can control whether you let it ruin your day. Focus your energy only on what's in your power, your judgments, your actions, and you become untouchable. So when we feel overwhelmed, what's our go-to move? We look for an escape, right? We start doom scrolling on our phones. We binge watch a show for hours. We stress eat. We're always looking for something outside of ourselves to make us feel better, a quick retreat from all the chaos. Marcus saw the exact same thing happening in his time. People would run off to their country houses or the beach to find peace. But he realized that's a huge mistake. True peace isn't a place you go to. You can't find it on a beach if you bring your anxious, chaotic mind with you. The real retreat, the ultimate escape, is always available, and it's right inside your own head. This inner world, this fortress in your mind, it's a sanctuary of total peace and freedom. And the best part is, you can go there anytime you want, no matter what is going on around you. It's not about ignoring the world. It's about finding a solid, calm place inside yourself so you can deal with the world effectively. So after going through these first 4 books, what does it all boil down to? Well, we can take Marcus's personal notes and distill them into a simple, powerful toolkit for our own lives to find a little more peace and purpose. Here it is. Step 1. Start with gratitude. Acknowledge the good you've gotten from others. Step 2. All day long, observe your thoughts. Keep asking, is this in my control or not? And then choose how you're going to respond. And step 3. Act with purpose. Remember that your job is to be useful, to cooperate, to contribute something positive, not get bogged down by distraction. All right, let's make this super practical. How does this work in real life? You know that feeling, right? The alarm goes off, it's still dark, it's cold, and the warmth of your bed feels like the only safe place in the universe. That temptation to just stay put, it's completely universal. And get this, it turns out the most powerful man in the ancient world felt the exact same way. So this is basically the pep talk Marcus Aurelius had to give himself. He wasn't just hitting snooze, he was literally having an argument with his own desire for comfort. And his whole argument was this. Getting up and getting to work wasn't just about his job as emperor. It was about fulfilling his most basic function as a human being. I absolutely love this line because it's so raw and direct. He's basically asking himself, look, was I put on this earth just to be comfortable? Or was I born to actually do something? It's such a powerful question that just slices right through all our flimsy excuses. So, how did he actually win the argument against that warm, cozy bed? Well, he reminded himself of his fundamental purpose, and not just as the emperor, but as a member of the human race, as a piece of nature itself. He completely reframed the choice. It wasn't about comfort versus work. It was about self-indulgence versus his very nature. And this right here just lays out the whole conflict perfectly. On one side, you have all the simple, almost animal desires for warmth, rest, pleasure, the easy stuff. But on the other side, he places what he sees as our uniquely human nature, the drive to act, to contribute, and to live by reason. For Marcus, choosing that second column was really the only logical way forward. And to really drive the point home, he just looked outside. He saw that everything in the natural world, from a plant reaching for the sun to a bee making honey, is just busy doing what it's supposed to do. It's not a choice for them, it's what they are. So he asks, why should we be any different? Are we really the only creatures that try to run away from our own nature? And this brings the whole idea right back to us today. Maybe your job isn't running an empire. Maybe it's being a decent parent, a reliable friend, a creative person, or a helpful neighbor. The scale really doesn't matter. What matters is remembering that role, because that sense of purpose, that's the fuel you're going to need for everything that comes next. Because let's be real, once you've won the battle with the bed, you've got a whole new problem, the actual world. And it's full of frustrating people and unexpected events that just love to get in your way. So how does remembering your role help you deal with all of that daily grind? Our frustrations today might look a little different on the surface, but the feeling is exactly the same. An unfair boss, feeling buried by your inbox, a stupid argument. It's the same feeling as a Roman getting his chariot stuck in the mud. The real challenge is, how do you keep moving forward when things just refuse to go your way? To deal with all this chaos, Marcus uses this really powerful metaphor. He pictures the universe as this master craftsman who is constantly melting down and reshaping reality, just like a ball of wax. What does that mean? It means nothing is permanent. Not our problems, not our circumstances, not even our wins. Okay, let's break this down. A problem shows up. That's the wax getting shaped into, say, a little horse. But it's not going to stay a horse forever. Sooner or later, nature's going to melt it down and turn it into something else, like a tree. The wax itself doesn't change, only the form. And that's the key. Our problems are just temporary shapes, not permanent parts of reality. Seriously, think about it. Most tasks feel overwhelming because we imagine the entire weight of them all at once. But what if you only had to handle the next 60 seconds? What if you only had to write one single sentence or send one email? All of a sudden, it feels possible, doesn't it? The present moment is always manageable. As he's writing these last parts, he's out on some military campaign. Probably cold, definitely far from home. And there's this question that just sort of hangs in the air. It's a question we all get to eventually, don't we? What are we going to leave behind? What will our legacy actually be? But then, boom, Marcus hits you with the classic Stoic twist. And this is where he cuts right through all of the sentimentality, and gets to the really tough but also really freeing truth at the heart of his entire philosophy. These last few books of meditations, they're basically a masterclass in how to prepare for the end. And he's not being morbid or depressing, not at all. He's being super practical. He's trying to build a philosophy not just for how to live, but for how to end things well. And he does that by tackling the two biggest fears we all have, death and being completely forgotten. So first up, he goes straight for the big one, death itself. For Marcus, the reason we're so scared of it is because we're looking at it all wrong. We see it as this personal tragedy, like the ultimate failure. But he's urging us to just zoom out, way out, to see it from the perspective of the entire universe. And this quote, man, it just reframes the whole thing. Death isn't some final stop. It's just a transformation. It's part of the exact same natural process that brought us into being in the first place. The universe put you together from a bunch of elements, and one day, it'll just take you apart again. It's a cycle, not a cliff you fall off of. And that is how you get to that stoic calm everyone talks about. I mean, if you can really truly accept that dying is just as natural as being born, that terror starts to melt away. All that anxiety about the future, that feeling that you're running out of time, it just starts to lose its power over you. Accepting that we're temporary is really the first step to finding some peace.
Okay, so that leads us to the second huge anxiety he wants to deal with, the fear of being forgotten. If death is just a natural part of the cycle, what about our legacy, our reputation? I mean, surely that stuff matters, right? Well, Marcus is about to take that whole idea apart, piece by piece. Just look at this list for a second. In their day, these guys were the absolute titans of the Roman world. Camillus, Scipio, the Emperor Augustus himself. These names were legendary. They seemed immortal. And today, for most of us, they're just names in a history book, if that. His point is so sharp and effective. If even these giants get forgotten, what chance does my name or your name have in the long run? He uses this incredible metaphor in Book 10. Think about it. All that praise you get, all the criticism, your fame, your reputation, it's all just like leaves on a tree. They're there for a little while, for a season, and then a puff of wind comes along and they're just gone. And the world doesn't miss a beat. And really, that Roman obsession with their legacy, it's not so different from our obsession with getting likes on social media or climbing that corporate ladder, is it? We're just chasing leaves in the wind. We're basing our entire sense of self-worth on something that's by its very nature temporary and totally out of our control. So if death is just natural and fame doesn't really matter, what's left? What are we supposed to focus on? Well, Marcus gives us a really clear, really powerful answer. You have to turn all that attention inward, to the only thing you actually own and control. And all of this brings us to his final and I think most beautiful metaphor for a life well lived. He doesn't see life as a battle you have to win or some race you have to finish first. No, he sees it as a play. In the end, it really doesn't matter if your part in the play was long or short. What matters is that you played your part well, with integrity and with purpose. The director of the play, call it God, nature, the universe, whatever, gives you your cue to exit, and you can leave the stage feeling satisfied, knowing you gave the role you were assigned everything you had. And we just have to keep remembering, this whole book wasn't a performance. Meditations was his private journal. He wasn't writing this to impress anybody or to build some kind of legacy. He was writing to himself, to wrestle with these big ideas for his own sake. This is a guy actually practicing his philosophy in real time. And so as we wrap up our whole journey through meditations, this might just be the single most powerful lesson of all. After throwing out fame, fortune, and what other people think, Marcus Aurelius leaves us with this one final liberating idea. A good life isn't about the applause you get from the outside world. It's about earning that quiet inner applause that comes from knowing you lived with virtue, with courage, and with integrity. That you played your part well. A look into meditations gives you the insight, but the full book gives you the breakthrough. If you're ready to master your own mind, the link is in the description. Share this with someone who is also building their best self. Then like and subscribe to keep gaining clarity. Choose to grow.